Good afternoon, sports fans, and welcome to another edition of Sports Memo College Football Forecast. My friends, we're going to be coming to you every Thursday during the college football campaign, bringing you tons of free winners, amazing betting insights, and a few laughs, too, from some of Sports Memo's documented leaderboard fixtures. So grab that helmet, lace up them cleats, get ready to make some money in college football this weekend. We've got an amazing show today. It's Thursday. We got a great battle, a great cast, 3 roundtable games, a best bet segment, and I'm riled up, losing my voice once again. Somebody's getting that Christmas present early. Joe D's going, losing his voice one more time. Let's bring on the panel. Let's go right around the horn, guys. We got the First Lady of Las Vegas, Dionne D'Amico. We got the Iceman coming, Jesse Schule, and old Danny boy, Dan Kaiser. Dionne, how are you today?
I'm doing great. Glad to be here with you guys today.
Great stuff. Jesse Schule, how are you, my friend?
Well, Joe, my coffee's not quite as strong as yours, but I'm making do.
Coffee. I'm on tranquilizers. If I was on coffee, I'd be hitting the ceiling. My good friend Dan Kaiser, how are you today?
Good. Condolences that the Yankees game got canceled today, and I see you're not wearing black anymore.
Well, there won't be a funeral. You know, there would have been a funeral in the Bronx, and that would have been for the Cleveland Guardians, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. My friends, before we get into 3 roundtable games that are very exciting, best bet segment, a couple of quickies, and you know how much I like an afternoon quickie, almost as much as I like a morning quickie. Guys, every successful sports bettor and sports handicapper I knew used the Gold Sheet, the oldest and most respected of all the betting publications. After the show, go over to www.goldsheet.com. Go use what the pros use. Plus, during the show, you can thank our good friends at the Gold Sheet for some of these great stats and these great graphics. Also, the customer appreciation over at Sports Memo is unrivaled. We know that saving your money is just as good as making your money. So after the show, www.sportsmemo.com, take advantage of those amazing discounts. Currently have offered a couple of quickies. The $2 Tuesday special is just amazing. And 2 of those 3 cappers still have their $2 Tuesday specials available. 2 best-looking guys in the entire Sports Memo family, Joe D'Amico and Kevin Thomas. Kevin's got a 5% SEC blank check. Joe D'Amico has a 5% NFL 10 dimes play. You get each one of them for $2 or both for $3. This will be good through Saturday, but you want to take advantage of this as soon as you can. I'll tell you why. Because the more people are going to get it, the more these lines are going to move. We want you to take advantage of those lines while they're still in our favor. Also, guys, you can't beat this with a bat. I know there's a football show, but let's talk baseball. We've got a great special. It's a 7-day special, just $59. You use code MEMO7 upon checkout. Let me put that up for us. I'm running slow today, guys. MEMO7 upon checkout. Sorry, bear with me, guys. It's been a long day. Joe D's getting old. I may look young. 7 days, all sports from any one of your favorite capper or cappers. You could use this for as many of your favorite cappers as you want. Guys, I'm going to tell you now, 3-day package usually costs $59. It's like getting 4 extra days for free. And with right now, just follow this, baseball, soccer, hockey. You got NBA just around the corner. You could get your favorite capper in 3, 4, maybe even 5 sports right now. Hell, if it's Dr. Chuck, you get 9 or 10 sports. I'll tell you that right now. He's the best. He's doing sports I never even heard of. My friends, also the deals page. I got to tell you, even us, the handicappers, sometimes we're surprised to know how great of a deal we have on the deals page. Go over after the show. Go check out the deals page. I'm going to tell you now, some of your favorite cappers, we've got some explosive deals there. The customer appreciation at Sports Memo, unrivaled. Having said all that, before we get into today's free plays, I've got some college football line movements from my favorite sports book in the world, the Superbook at the Westgate. Guys, whether you live in Southern Nevada or you're just visiting, you've got to go to the Superbook. It is my favorite place to go sit and watch a game and certainly to bet a game. More props than any 5 sports books combined. Now, we all know that when the lines come out, that the general public, weather conditions, injuries, they all have a significance into line movements. But these specific games were moved by just the wise guys, the sharps, the smart money players here in Southern Nevada. And we wanted to make you aware of them. Doing it real quick. North Carolina, 5.5 up to 7. Purdue, 12 up to 14. Arizona, they're betting against them. They bet them from 15.5 down to 14, so they're betting on Washington. Western Kentucky, 6.5 up to 8. Nevada, 4.5 up to 6. Utah State, 9.5 up to 11.5. A lot of these games moved before hot numbers, past hot numbers, and went even further. And these are the ones the wise guys moved on. What's funny is they moved 1, 2, 3, 4 of the 6 games here. 5 of them were favorites, which is very peculiar, but they bet them up. Sometimes they'll bet on one side, so the general public goes, wow, the wise guys know something we don't. They'll bet on them. Then they'll bet the other side, try the middle of the game. But those are the significant line movements from the sharp money players here in Southern Nevada by our good friends over at the Superbook at the Westgate. Having said all that, we got 3 roundtable games. Oh, my goodness, 3 marquee matchups in the college football ranks for you. The first game that we're going to be covering, 2 undefeated teams that really don't like each other. You think the Yankees and the Redskins, the Yankees and the Red Sox don't like each other. These 2 teams really hate each other. The favorite is 7-1 against the spread the last 8 meetings, but a step up in class from what the Wolverines have been facing. Yes, we're talking about Penn State at Michigan. Goes at 12 p.m. Pacific. There he goes again. 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Wolverines are 7.50.5. Let's go to the prettiest person on the panel, a person who has proved that sports betting ain't just for men anymore. The first lady of Las Vegas, she's all over the Sportsmemo leaderboards. Dionne, Penn State, Michigan. Wolverines 7.50.5. The floor is yours.
Thank you. These 2 undefeated teams match up well together. Although, in my opinion, Michigan really hasn't been tested yet. Case in point, they've been double-digit favorites in every game this season. But the Wolverines could not cover against the Terrapins and Hoosiers, which they should have and did not. We saw what Penn State is made of. I believe with wins and covers on the road over both Purdue and Auburn, the Nittany Lions are 7-3 ATS in their last 10 games on the road, 5-1 ATS in their last 6 on field turf, and 36-15-1 ATS in their last 52 following a straight-up win. This is way too many points for Michigan to lay against an opponent as strong as Penn State is on both sides of the line of scrimmage. I'm taking the underdog in this one, the Nittany Lions, plus the points. We can't hear you.
First lady of Las Vegas, Dionne D'Amico, says the Nittany Lions plus the points. Really good breakdown. Short and sweet, just like your husband, Dionne. Now I know why you're a winner. Great stuff. Let's go to our buddy Jesse Schule. Jesse's doing great work over at Sportsmemo, all over the leaderboard. You know, he's been wearing that yellow leotard a lot the last 2 weeks because he has been perfect in a lot of the college and pro football releases he's been putting out. Jesse, Penn State, Michigan, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Saturday. Wolverines, 7:50.5. Take it away.
Well, Joe, you know I watch a lot of shows out there, listen to what a lot of the pundits have to say, and I hear a lot of people talking about Michigan, their top 10 ranked defense, top 10 ranked offense, all these numbers and yards per play, points scored, how good their defense is. But none of that matters when you look at their schedule, and Dionne alluded to that. They played Colorado State, Hawaii, UConn, Maryland, Iowa, Indiana, the who's who of who can't score in college football. This team hasn't played anybody yet. Now they're playing the number 10 ranked Nittany Lions. The significance of the ranking here, I will tell you, Jim Harbaugh's career record at Michigan versus top 10 ranked teams, 3-14 straight up. Do you know what the quarterback J.J. McCarthy's record is against top 10 opposition? 0-0. He's never played a big game like this before. You got Sean Clifford at quarterback on the other side for Penn State. Now, Clifford's not a great quarterback, but he's a veteran. He's been through games like this before. He knows what to expect. I think the edge goes to the visitors coming off a bye week as well. Getting 7 points. I love it. I think Penn State could win this game outright.
Sports fans, Jesse the Iceman Schule, Mr. Perfect, as we also know him as, says Penn State. Real quick, you don't even have to go on a solo shot, Chris. I'm just going to go real quick, 2 sentences. I think that Jesse and Dionne made some great points, and I'm going to tell you this. Michigan is a good team. Harbaugh is a good coach. Jesse said good coach, but against top-ranked teams, things change. So there are money players and there are fun players. I know our Detroit office is laughing. They're all Michigan fans out there. Guys, I'm going to tell you right now, Michigan has not been tested yet. And to go up against a team like Penn State, who has been tested, they played a couple of good games on the road, I think Dionne mentioned. I think giving this team points is a mistake here. Now, until Michigan shows me they could beat some top teams, I'm going to fade them. I'll tell you right now. I'm waiting for the Detroit Pistons to start because they might be the best team in the city right now. I'll tell you right now, them bad boys are back. Guys, I'm going to go with the 2 great cappers that you heard before me. They both like Dionne and Jesse Penn State. I like Penn State. I think they win the game outright. But like I said, until Michigan starts showing me that they got some chutzpah, I'm going to fade them. Let's go to our second roundtable game. Here's another marquee matchup. SEC showdown between the number 3 and the number 6 teams in the nation. Guys, they're a combined 11-0 straight up, and even more importantly, 8-3 against the spread combined. Bama's covered 9 of the last 10 at Neyland Stadium. Bama's got some quarterback problems. I know that they still haven't named a starter yet. Bryce Young, we don't know the status. That changes things, and obviously, once that's announced, this line will move up or down. But however, let's see if Dan the Man Kaiser, let's see if he says whether Bryce Young plays or not, it's going to factor in his decision. Let's go to Dan Kaiser. Dan, Crimson Tide 7 and 65.5. It's all you, buddy.
Yeah, I would have loved to comment on the last game you guys did, but I understand why the powers that be in Detroit would not let a Spartan comment on Michigan. So I'll just let that go for this. And to be honest, it's Alabama, Tennessee, and every time I say Alabama, I always have to say roll damn Tide. To be honest, it's a little bit of transparency. If I didn't go to Michigan State, my number 2 university I wanted to go to was Alabama, but my dad didn't feel like paying out of state tuition, so I ended up being a Spartan for life. And I also have this love-hate relationship with our former coach, Nick Saban, but that's a story for another day. I look at this game. Yeah, Alabama struggled against Texas A&M, but again, they had their backup quarterback. They struggled early in the season against Texas. This volunteer team is looking very good on offense. Brendan Hooker's doing a great job for them. But it goes back to a few weeks ago when we're doing some of these same games with Dr. Chuck, and we're asking Tennessee to do something that they haven't done in years, and that is beat Alabama. Yeah, to be honest, I think what's going to happen with the quarterback for Alabama will determine what I do for this game, and that's kind of the sad thing. It determines what I do for the over under, and it does determines what I do for the side. And I'm looking at both of those as a premium play, so I'm gonna have to yield to the First Lady of Las Vegas to give us a pick on this game.
Dan Kaiser, one of the sharpest minds in sports betting, particularly at the college football ranks, says he's going to yield. By the way, Dan says his father didn't want to shell out to send him to Alabama. Don't feel bad, Dan. I had a full ride to UCLA, not the one in California, University of the Corner, Lexington Avenue in New York City, and my father still wanted to shell out for tuition. Guys, God knows, I was a quarterback, but they used to list me. Crystal got a big kick out. I was an all-state quarterback. They listed me at 5'10.5". Even with hair, I couldn't hit 5'7.5". But that's how funny those are. But our good friend Dan is yielding. Let's go to the First Lady of Las Vegas, who did finish college football last season at Sportsmemo number 2. Number two. And guys, as long as there's a D'Amico up there, I'm happy. Dionne D'Amico, tell us your take. Alabama, Tennessee, 3:30 Eastern on Saturday. The Tide, 7, 65.5. It's all you.
This matchup here, I find this to be one of the most interesting matchups on the Saturday college football card. I know Bama has taken 15 straight meetings with Tennessee, but the Crimson Tide aren't demolishing opponents like they were accustomed to them doing. They come off a very lackluster 4-point win at home against Texas A&M last week, a game in which they were a 20-point favorite. That performance is the reason why they slipped from number 1 to number 3 in the polls. As of the show, like Joey did mention, quarterback Bryce Young's status is yet to be determined. Whether he plays or not, I really find the Volunteers to be a very live dog here. They've covered 4 of their last 5 outings and come off one of their most impressive performances this season, a 40-13 demolishing at the LSU Tigers. I feel the Crimson Tide are going to be significantly tested in this matchup. Let's face it, the Vols have already notched wins over 3 ranked teams. Tennessee has the momentum and moreover, the confidence to give Alabama a hard time here. Personally, I think they can win this game outright, but I'll go ahead and take the touchdown.
All right, great stuff from Dionne D'Amico, who says Tennessee Volunteers can win this game outright, but she'll take the TD. Great minds. I'm going to chime in real quick. I'm going to say real quick, guys, I'm a big fan of Alabama football. I am. And I like Nick Saban. The guy wins. But unlike the professional level where games are won on the field, the collegiate level, the games are won by your ability to recruit. And when you are a top 5 team every year and you're on television every Saturday, you don't have to go out and recruit. Recruits come to you. And that's what happens with Alabama. But I will tell you this, they're suffering a little bit. They're struggling quite a bit right now. And I don't think they could bulldoze Tennessee. Tennessee isn't going to be awestruck that they're going to be playing Alabama. They're not going to be afraid or intimidated by them. And Tennessee is playing good football. And getting 7, and there was a 7.5 round for a few days. Obviously, people are thinking, well, maybe there's a situation, maybe Bryce Young won't play. But either way, I think Tennessee plays them hard-nosed. And I think that if they could keep it close, they can win this game outright. Listen, I'm not saying that Saban and his defensive coordinator and his offensive and defensive coordinators can't come up with a great game plan and blow this team out. But I really do feel until they start showing me that they can win consistently over tough teams that aren't intimidated by them, once again, I'm fading a top-ranked team. I'm going to go UT, baby. I'll be wearing orange on Saturday, I'll tell you that. So let's go to our third round. Everybody's laughing. I love you guys. Guys, I get to see everybody's window in the back room, even our producer. They're always laughing. I don't know if they're laughing at me or with me, but I've got them laughing, so I'm happy. We got our third round table game. Then we're going to go to our exciting best bet segment, so don't go nowhere, folks. Our third round table game, what's funny is nobody expected as many Pac-12 teams to be ranked or just outside the rankings they are right now. Pac-12 powerhouse to square off. An undefeated 6-0 Trojans. This has kind of stumped me. An undefeated 6-0 Trojans are a small dog in Salt Lake City against the 4-2 Utes. Guys, the home team has covered in the last 11 of the series, but it's an interesting matchup. One of those things where I feel, and I'll talk about it later, that the odds makers are looking to trap you a little bit. Let's go to the body himself, the Iceman cometh. Jesse Schule. Jesse, USC at Utah. 8 p.m. Eastern, Saturday night. The Utes. By the way, what is a Ute? 3.5, 65.
Well, I hope I don't have to answer that question about what a Ute is, because I got no idea. But I know that Utah is a tough place to play, Joe. Their record at home over the last few seasons is incredible. And USC comes in with that 6-0 record. Everybody's thinking, how could USC be the underdog in this matchup? But I think I have a few reasons why. I did watch USC play at Oregon State earlier this season. I had Oregon State. I believe the line was +7 in that game. The Beavers were kicking the crap out of them for the entire game. USC needed a late touchdown drive to end up winning that game, failing to cover. But what I noticed about that game is they benefited from 4 turnovers by the Beavers, which is something that they've been really feasting on this season. The Trojans have a 14-0 turnover ratio so far this season. Now, that cannot continue. You cannot continue to get that many turnovers in your favor and not turn the ball over. Things like this tend to correct themselves over time, and especially here on the road, tough game. I already saw how they struggled at Oregon State. I expect them to struggle here at Utah. Caleb Williams, the quarterback for USC, he threw for just 180 yards on 16 of 36 passing, and then got 1 touchdown, which was the late touchdown to win it for USC. That was at Corvallis. It's a game that Utah really needs to win, coming off that loss to UCLA. And history tells us this is a spot where USC tends to lose. So I'm going to go with the Utes, and I don't know what Utes are, but I'm taking them.
There you go. Jesse Schule says the Utes. Somebody's dog either agrees or disagrees with Jesse. Guys, I got to tell you this, by the way. We've got some great comments about the dogs. I love the dogs. Brings charm to the show. Jesse says Utah. We're going to go to Dan Kaiser. Guys, Dan hit the ground running over here. Oh, there he goes. I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you, Chris. He's our producer. You can see that there's no mess-ups on the posts today because I'm not handling them. Our good buddy Dan Kaiser hit the ground running a few months back, coming over to Sportsmemo, doing great. One of the sharpest minds in sports betting, let alone really more over the college football ranks. USC, Utah, 8 p.m. Eastern, Saturday, Dan. Utah, Utes, 3.5, 65. Take it away.
Yeah, it's my dog. It's my
great.
dog. And I think he agrees with Jesse because he knows what I'm going to say about this game. But yeah, as Jesse says, these are spots that Southern Cal usually doesn't win, but Southern Cal hasn't had Lincoln Riley as a coach recently or anything close to that. I was at the last game Lincoln Riley coached for Oklahoma, and when I heard coming home in the car that he was going to Southern Cal, I thought, yeah, USC could come back, could be back sooner than later. And I agree with a lot Jesse says. And my only worry about this game is Southern Cal going to Utah and playing in the altitude, and that usually causes problems for teams. But I like the way Caleb Williams is playing. 14 touchdowns, 1 interception. I like the running attack, and again, I've said this on other shows. I don't when you screw me over the week before, you're on my list, and Utah's on my list this week, basically for what they did with UCLA. I think this is going to be a very close game. This isn't going to be a blowout. It's going to be a very close game. But, last week I lost 2 games in college football by the hook. I'm going to take the hook in this one, and I'm taking Southern Cal.
Dan Kaiser, whose dog is very, very excited. I love that dog. USC, because of the hook, by the way, Dan, I got to tell you, my dogs get excited every time Jesse's on as well. They love his voice. He's like, there's a dog whisperer, there's Jesse. The dogs love Jesse. They also love that yellow outfit he wears. But who doesn't? We love Jesse. Jesse's as entertaining as informative. And Dan, great breakdown as usual. It's what we come to expect from you. You're doing some great work over at Sportsmemo. I'm going to chime in real quick. A couple of weeks ago, I had Utah in the UCLA matchup, and I did something very technical we talk about in the business. I pooped the bed. They just couldn't do anything. Now, is Utah the type of team they have a good head coach? They got a good coaching staff that can overcome the adversities they had against UCLA. The problem I have here, guys, is the fact that USC and UCLA are very similar teams. Offensively, defensively, quarterback, coaching. They're very, very similar. And you know that UCLA, Dan mentioned their coaching staff, very smart. They watch those game films. They're going to look to exploit those same weaknesses that UCLA exploited. And by the way, once UCLA had Utah on the ropes, the quicksand set in, and they just kept sinking further and further down. More and more. Every time you thought they'd advance, they got further back. Something else went wrong. So that tells me that USC is going to come in here, play smart football, exploit the same weaknesses that UCLA exploited a few weeks ago, and go at them. I think USC can win this game outright, but I like that 3.5 makes it even more attractive. I'll tell you right now, it's like when you're in the club and they dim the lights even more, you have 2 more drinks. That girl is even prettier. Doesn't matter if she's got buck teeth. I'll tell you right now. So USC is all for Joe D. That's it. We got our best bet segments. And guys, by the way, all those great graphics that you saw, courtesy of our good friends over at the Gold Sheet. Guys, the best and most respected betting publication out there. Make sure after the show, go over to goldsheet.com. Guys, I use it. Dionne uses it. Jesse and Dan love it. Guys, and we're all documented winners. Let's go to our best bet segment. So we're going to lead off with the prettiest person on the panel, and that's not easy, guys. Jesse, Dan, and myself are pretty sons of guns. Dionne D'Amico finished the college football season last year, number 2. She's really doing well this year. Her NFL is doing well. She's been on the leaderboard of the MLB all season long. Was on the leaderboard of WNBA. She'll be starting NHL in a few days. I know she said on the First Family show yesterday or today, sometimes she's going to wait a few days. She wants to see a round or two with some of the new additions and whatnot. On some of the teams before she puts up some plays. But she's doing some great work over at Sports Memo. And to go over and follow her for 7 days, where you're going to get college and pro football, baseball, and probably some NHL right now. And NBA starts obviously in 5 days. But, right now, 7 days, you're going to be getting 4 sports from Dionne. 7 days, all sports. Over after the show, $59. Use code MEMO7. Follow Dionne. She's the winner. She's going to tell you a little bit about what she's been doing, what she's got on the premium side, and she's got a free best bet for you. Dionne, take it away. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Unfortunately, I did have one game that I did have posted in baseball today, but it did get postponed till tomorrow. And like Joey did mention, I was number 2 last year in college football, and this year I settled for nothing less than the number 1 spot. All of my NFL And NCAA games will be posted by tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow night. So make sure you head on over to the site and get those releases tomorrow. For my best bet, though, does anybody else out there find it a little strange that we're in the mid-October and neither LSU nor Florida are ranked? It just seems a little strange to me, folks. Having said that, I really feel the wrong team is favored here.
Oh.
Even though this game is being played in the swamp, I still feel the Tigers should be a slight fave of 1 to 2 points. This is a very good bounce-back team. They opened up the campaign with a 1-point loss at the hands of FSU, then rattled off 4 consecutive wins, going 3-1 against the spread. Last week, they got in a hole very quickly and couldn't climb out of it at home against Tennessee. But as I said earlier, this is a very good team when in bounce-back mode. Yes, a few weeks ago, Florida was a bit more competitive in a 38-33 loss in Tennessee. But since then, they've played 2 pushovers in Eastern Washington and Missouri. They are stepping up in class here. On both sides of the ball, the Tigers match up quite well with the Gators guys. They've also taken the last 3 in the series straight up, and the last 2 against the spread. By the way, the underdog is 6-0 ATS the last 6 meetings in this rivalry. Florida, 2-7 ATS the last 9 at home, 1-6 ATS the last 7 in conference play, and 1-6 ATS the last 7 following a straight up win. To me, the wrong team is favored, so I'll take the points with LSU as my best bet today.
The First Lady of Las Vegas, Dionne D'Amico, says the wrong team is favored. Take LSU plus the points. Dionne, that's a really your betting insights and your angles there. Really a great breakdown. It really is. It's really impressive. I didn't know what you were writing. I know who your team was, but I didn't know what you wrote. And I've got to tell you guys, really does impress me. She really does great stuff. Dionne, after the show, go follow Dionne with all those great customer appreciation discounts. She's a winner. She married me. That's your proof. Let's go to our good buddy Dan Kaiser. You know, I like to brag about our contributors here on all the shows because let's face it, we are unrivaled. We got the best collection of cappers on the planet. I knew of Dan before he came over to Sports Memo because his reputation really did precede him. He does great work. When he came over to Sports Memo, right away I went to our producer, Chris. I said, Chris, I want him as soon as he starts doing shows. And I got to tell you, he became a fan favorite because of his betting insights, his intelligence, and because he's a winner. You don't believe me? Go over to Sports Memo after the show and go check out his numbers because numbers don't lie. I will tell you that. Dan's a winner, and he's a guy you do need to follow after the show. I mean, that 7-day package will be great for Dan. You could dip your toe in the Dan Kaiser pool, but I promise you after a week, you'll be diving in the Dan Kaiser pool. He's a winner. He's going to tell you about what he's been doing. He's going to tell you about what he's going to be doing on the premium side, and he's got a free best bet winner. Dan, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I'm kind of like the Golden Corral lately. I've got like a smorgasbord on the premium side. I've got baseball. I've got 2 plays on tonight's NFL game. I've got hockey, and I'm finalizing. I'm just doing the final write-ups on all the games for this weekend. It's going to be, all sports. It's going to be a huge weekend. So yeah, get that package and save yourself some money while you're winning money. I'm going to the Big Ten, a conference that I know well, and unfortunately, my team is not doing well in the conference. But as all Spartans say, as long as we beat Michigan, then it's a good year. So that's what I'm hoping for. But I'm going to the Illinois Minnesota game, and I'm looking at the total in this one. Both programs love to run the football and run the clock. Minnesota's averaging 47 rushing attempts per game, and Illinois is running the ball 43.8 rushing attempts a game. Minnesota does have Ibrahim back, which should really bolster their running attack in this one. But the big key in this one is you got 2 of the best defenses in the Big Ten and in the country in this one. These 2 teams combined to allow only 16.8 points per game. They're the top 2 scoring defenses in the country. Now, here's my thing: being a fan of the Big Ten, and everybody always says, "Oh, this team is great against scoring," but they're playing in the Big Ten. So I take the Big Ten defensive rankings kind of with a grain of salt because of who they're playing against. Other Big Ten teams that love to run the ball and not score, but in this case, I think it's apropos because both teams are basically mirror images of each other. The under is hit in the last four of the last 5 games against these two. I just look at Belima. His thing is run the ball, play defense, field position. Fleck and roll the boat. He's going to want to, he needs this win. Either one of these teams could win the Big Ten West. And I think that this one's going to be played close to the vest. And I like the under.
Our good buddy Dan Kaiser doing some great work over at Sportsmemo says under Minnesota, Illinois. Really good breakdown. It's what we come to expect from Dan. By the way, Dan, I take it with a grain of salt too, but I also accompany it with a lime wedge and a shot of tequila, just to let you know. That's me and Jesse. That's how we do it.
And a scorpion?
And I've drank it. I've drunk it a few times. I was going to do one now, but Chris gets mad when I drink tequila before the show. Guys, Dan Kaiser is doing great work. Make sure you go over and follow him after the show. Those customer appreciation discounts, unrivaled. You'll be following Dan all the way to the bank. Speaking of banks, my good friend Jesse Schule, as entertaining as he is informative, we have a lot of fun with Jesse because, this is something, not just what we do, this is who we are. We walk it like we talk, and Jesse and I have been friends for many years. But Jesse and I became friends because of my respect and admiration for him for 20 years in this business. He is a leaderboard fixture. On top of that, he does like to come and have a good time, which I do enjoy that too, because he makes it a lot more enjoyable for someone like me who hosts the show and for you, the viewers. And I know he's a fan favorite. He put on the yellow outfit a couple times this year because he's been perfect. Saturdays, Sundays, and entire weekends through the first 5-6 weeks of the season. He is killing it. He is all over the football leaderboards. But now that hockey's here, now that NBA's about to start, he is a winner. It doesn't matter if it's on the gridiron, if it's on the hardwood, if it's on the ice. Guys, he is a winner. Jesse Schule is going to tell you what he's been doing, what he's about to do on the premium side, and he's got another free best bet for you, and his best bets are killing it. Jesse, the floor is yours.
Well, Joe, 6 weeks into the football season, I'm not quite perfect, but 80% combined with college and NFL is pretty good. Coming off a perfect week with NFL, though, 5-0, all underdogs, all covered. Few of them won outright. I didn't get a chance to chime in about the Alabama-Tennessee game, and I want to do that. When we're looking at situations like Bryce Young, the quarterback for Alabama, with a shoulder injury, and I think people tend to focus too much on he's either going to play or he's not going to play, when there's really 3 distinct possibilities. There's he's going to play hurt, or he's not going to play. Mm-hmm. So more than likely, it's going to be one of the latter, 2 of the latter. He's going to play hurt, or he's not going to play, because he's probably not going to be 100%. So that's where I stand with that. And that also applies to another game this week, which is going to find its way into my best bet, and that's Dylan Gabriel for Oklahoma. So without further ado, let's get to this big best bet. It's going to be a 3-team moneyline underdog parlay with Penn State, Tennessee, and Kansas all to win outright. It pays 36 to 1, a little bit better. I even saw it at 40 to 1 somewhere. And the reason I like this is because I think all 3 of these teams, an argument could be made. Now, don't misquote me. I'm not saying these teams are better than their opponents and they're the better teams, but an argument could be made that this week they could be the better team. Of course, Penn State coming off a bye week, Penn State with more experience, the strength of schedule issues for Michigan. For Tennessee, you got that quarterback issue. For Alabama, you got the home field advantage, and the Vols have just looked a little bit better this year. And for Kansas, people question whether they're for real or not. They've beaten some pretty good teams, and they held their own last week against TCU. Now, Kansas is going to have their backup quarterback as well. Jason Bean played well last week after Daniels got injured. I will point out that he threw for 246 yards and a touchdown on 17 of 23 passing versus Oklahoma last year. Kansas lost that game 35-23, but they did lead in the fourth quarter. They're a better team this year. and Oklahoma is significantly worse. Whether or not Gabriel plays, I think the Jayhawks have a chance to get the upset here. It's a long shot, but hell, it pays, so it's worth a try.
Great stuff. You know, the content that you get from Jesse Schule is always going to put a smile on your face, but the money's going to make you. It's going to really put a smile on your face so good. You can eat a banana sideways, I'll tell you that. Jesse Schule's a winner. He's got a 3-team underdog money line parlay. Let me go over Penn State, Tennessee, and Kansas. Great stuff, Jesse. We appreciate that. Jesse, 80% college and pro football. You couldn't do the 100? Come on, man. 80% off the charts. We love Jesse. We know you do too. This is a perfect time to take advantage of those customer appreciation discounts. Honestly, guys, we got some great discounts over there. Go follow Jesse. You're going to follow him to the bank. Now, I'm going to chime in on the best bet segment. But first, guys, I did have a play in baseball, and I'm doing very well over the last 30 days. Number one in Sportsmemo in profit in baseball. That's documented. Check out the numbers. How to play get rained out today. It should be if the same pitchers go tomorrow and there's no problem with the field, I'll probably put the same play up. I liked it a lot. But you know what? I'm not going to leave you hanging. Guys, my 5% $2 Tuesday play is posted. You've waited patiently for a year for me to put up one of my 10 dimes plays in the NFL. Well, sports fans, the wait is over. This upcoming Sunday NFL, I have my first NFL 10 dimes release of 2022 campaign. As you all know, over the last 5 years, I don't put up too many of them. 14 over 5 years. They're 13-1. You get it for $2. But guys, take advantage of me and Kevin Thomas. He's got an SEC blank check play on Saturday, a 5% play. I got this on Sunday. You get both of us for $3. I will tell you this. By to this evening or even tomorrow morning, afternoon, I want you to know I will have up a couple game of the month situations. Guys, the best big game month on the planet. I had a couple of games of the month that came in a few weeks ago. Last week, again, they make you money. I will have them both in college and pro football. You follow me this week. You'll be following me to the back. Now for my free play winner. I'm very excited about this game, guys. Guys, I will admit the Clemson Tigers are not the same team they were a few seasons ago. However, you cannot dismiss the fact that good teams find a way to win. Now, having said that, guys, guess what? Clemson is 6-0 on the season, currently ranked 4th in the nation. They crept up another spot in the polls this past week. On the other hand, after starting the season 4-0, the Florida State Seminoles have now dropped their last 2 games. I don't normally judge a current team situation or contest from the last one to the last few, but it's hard not to look at those 2 games that they lost, my friends. Not just because they were losses, but because they were nearly a touchdown favorite at home against Wake Forest and lost by 10. And moreover, last week when they lost at NC State, even after quarterback Devin Leary got knocked out of the game, even though this team covered, they should have run away with the game. You know, after Leary departed, the Wolfpack attempted 2 passes, only 2 passes, and yet they still lost this game 19-17. Guys, this really scares me about Florida State. Now, this matchup, they must rely upon their rushing attack, and they do have a very strong ground game. However, Clemson possesses the number 2 ranked defense in the nation. They will definitely slow down running backs Ward and Benson. By the way, Ward, still questionable as of this show. Just want you to know he's banged up with a shoulder injury. They haven't designated him in or out. Even if he plays, just wanted to make sure you knew that, FYI. Remember that the Tigers took down the Wolfpack a few weeks ago with Leary at the helm the entire game. As I said earlier, good team find ways to win. And believe it or not, Clemson is a very good team. The way the defensive coordinator, Wes Goodwin, completely shut down BC quarterback Phil Yurkovich a week ago. Guys, if I was Mike Norvell, I'd be very concerned right now that the rest of my season is going right down the toilet. All right, the Tigers have taken 6 consecutive meetings over the Seminoles, covering the last 4 straight as favorites of 16.5, 18, 25.5, and 9.5. They've also covered 4 of the last 5 meetings at Doak Campbell Stadium. They're 6-1 ATS the last 7 conference games, 5-1 ATS the last 6 road games. I would prefer a 3 on this game. So buy it down. There are 3.5s, or mostly 3.5s. There was a small 3 minus $1.15. Guys, I always want to err on the side of caution with you guys. I don't ever want to give you a number that ain't a real number. It's a 3.5. Buy it down just to err on the side of caution. But I like Clemson here, guys. Let's bring our panel back on. We got a couple of things to talk about, and then we're going to sign off. How about those great graphics and those great stats by our good friends over at the Gold Sheet? I love it. I love it. I love it. Guys, let me go real quick. We don't normally do this. Dionne, closing thoughts or comments for our viewers.
Yeah, just make sure that you head on over to my page tomorrow afternoon over at Sports Memo and pick up all of my games that I will have posted for college and pro football. And this is the perfect time to go ahead and use that 7-day all access pass for $59 because it's the same price as a 3-day package. So it's a steal.
Gotta love the First Lady of Las Vegas. Jesse Schule, closing thoughts or comments for our viewers, please.
Yeah, Joe, I'll just reiterate what I said about the injured quarterbacks. Don't focus so much on whether or not they're going to play. Focus on whether or not they're going to be healthy, because I'd rather have an injured starter come back and play. If I'm looking at betting against a team, I'd rather face a guy that's banged up than the backup that's healthy.
You know, Jesse, you made a real good point real quick before I go to Dan. You know, 3 outcomes can happen. Either he plays and he plays well, he plays and he plays hurt and he's not good, or he doesn't play. 2 of those things are for the plus if you're going against them, negative if you're going with them. Guys, you guys are numbers guys. I mean, let's face it, that's why we're here. In sports betting, it's all about numbers. 2/3, 66% of things that can happen are for you if you're going against those injured players. Great spot, great insight, Jesse. I love you for that. Dan Kaiser, closing thoughts or comments for our viewers.
Yeah, I think these guys gave out a lot of good info. Kind of on Jesse's point, though, I'd rather have an 80% Bryce Young than 100% Milroe at this point in their careers. But like I said, I'm still waiting. I'm looking at this game. I'm going to put a premium play tomorrow on that game. I just haven't decided which way I'm going to go yet.
Great stuff from Dan Kaiser. My friends, don't forget to tune in to all Sportsmemo TV's amazing content. Hit that subscribe button to get a reminder you don't want to miss any of our Cappers free winners or betting insights. Thank you for tuning in, folks. Remember, increase your chances of making a profit. Follow the best collection of Cappers anywhere on the planet here at Sportsmemo, because we don't go gambling, we go winning. On behalf of Sportsmemo, Dionne, Jesse, Dan, and myself, Joe D'Amico, everyone out there, good luck and have a winning day.